Welcome to Ergeonomics, the podcast by and for the Ergeon family. I'm Mario Hernandez.
And I'm Madeline Herrera.
Together, we'll be your hosts on this journey as we not only converse with our managers and department leaders, but also dive deep into current topics and gain valuable insight from them.
We are excited to bring you to this space where we can explore and learn from each other. And we hope you'll join us for the ride. So, without further ado, let's get started. Welcome, Lynette. This is such a pleasure to have you here with us today. It's been an amazing journey. We really want to everyone here at Ergeon get to know a little bit about you, of what you've been doing, what you did at the very beginning, and know a little bit more about you and the work you do in finance and your history here at Ergeon.
Thank you, Madam, for having me here. This is a very different experience. This is a first time for me. But yeah, thank you.
Woohoo! Actually, that's pretty cool. Being your first time.
Yes.
Before we start, I just want to add that prior to starting the recording of the podcast, we were having such a blast with Lynette telling all stories and all that. So we're going to try to go back to those stories in a minute. But we would like to ask you some questions first, Lynette.
Sure.
If you're okay. So the first thing I would like to know is about your story in Ergen. Like, how did you start here in the company? How's the beginning of Lynette's story in this?
It's a long story and we have 45 minutes, right? But so I'm going to cut it short. But yeah, so I started with the other company, Easy Home. So I was part of that. And then when it closed down, I went into a different job. I work for a casino. So crazy. Like it's a totally different industry. I was working from 6 p.m. to 2:30 in the morning. So I was on a swing shift. They call it swing shift. And then I think after a year, Alina reached out to me. And then she was like asking, hey, are you interested in a recruiting position? And I was like, recruiting? I was like, I do not have experience in recruiting. And then she was like, oh, have you interviewed people before? And I have. My very first job right off of college, I think, I was tasked to like just review applications. That's it, but never interview somebody. And then if I ever did, it was a friend. I interviewed a friend. I remember that. Like I still remember her. But yeah, but since I love working from home so much, I said like, yeah, let's do this. So I went an interview and then luckily I was accepted. So that's how my life at Ergeon started as a recruiter. It was just me and Alina at the time. And then Madeline and Stephanie came in. I did not abandon you guys, but after, because I listened to Stephanie's podcast, and then she said I abandoned you. I was like, I did not abandon you guys, but anyways, but yeah, like
still,
just told me. But I think it was over a year after being a recruiter. An opportunity came up, like a finance position opened up, and then since my educational background is in accounting, I was like, okay, I want to try this one. Yeah, I interviewed for that position, but the funny thing is, I was also interviewing for the same position. So it was so hard to be in that position. Like, okay, I need to be not biased about it because I need to look for a candidate that's good, but at the same time I'm also applying for that position. So
that's
I was
so hard.
it was hard because I don't want to be like, I don't want them to say that like, hey, maybe you were not being fair because you're applying for this position too. But I went through the same process and all that, and yeah, luckily I was hired for finance team, and I've been with the finance team since, I don't even remember, probably 2 years now.
2020, I think it was. Yes, 20.
So
yes,
almost 2 years now in August or April, something like that. But yeah, that's my journey. And as a recruiter, I've seen people like grow into their role, which makes me really proud because I was like, oh gosh, I interviewed that person and he's high up there now. So yeah, it was really like a wonderful experience and journey, if you will.
As a side note, before we start with the next question, Lynette was actually the person who interviewed me when I first joined the company. That was
I remember that.
July, I think it was July 2019. Was it?
Okay.
Yeah, 2019. I'm about to turn 4 years in this company, and I remember I was telling Lynette before we start recording that I remember her specifically like thinking that this was not a real proposal because I saw her on the video call and she was on a swing in her backyard, and I was like, "This is not real. There's no way that this is
She was
a real
telling you
company."
this is remote working and
Oh
just
gosh.
You She told me like part of the perks is that you can work from anywhere as long as you have internet connection. I was like, wow, that's not possible. Now 4 years into this, and it's actually real, 100%.
Oh my god. Probably at the time I was just making excuses, but I was actually like looking for a place to like interview. But because I mentioned like I didn't have like a specific office at the time. I think my office was in the bedroom. It could be in the living room or dining room. And sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, on top of a grill. Like I would just put the computer on there and then just do interviews. Like, crazy. But yeah, that's a good story.
yeah, and a good examples of how creative you can get. Whenever you're at home and you have people coming, going, kids, dogs, everything going around, and you need to move around just to find a good place to
Yeah. And
conduct
then
meetings or interviews.
yep. And then when you're interviewing as much as possible, like I remember it was one of our not rules, but you have to have your video on. But if my background
Mhm.
was crazy, I would just make excuses. Like I was like, my camera's not working, blah blah blah. But yeah, that was crazy times because now we have visual effects, so it's easier. Like we can go like probably in a restaurant and just blur your background or like just change a different background. But yeah, the struggle was were different before.
Exactly. It has changed. It has
Yes.
evolved.
Yep.
Tell us, Annette, you've told us about and a little bit about your career when you started and
Hmm.
then you moved to finance. So,
Yep.
what do you like the most about finance? Tell us a little
Okay.
bit.
Not to say that I don't like HR.
Why you didn't want to come back to HR?
I
Would that be
love
the question?
HR. I love HR. But I do love finance equally. So finance, what attracts me the most about it is because it's structured. It's an exact science. So I'm like that way in person as well. I want everything in its order, and I feel like finance is like that, like numbers and exact. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's actually like the one of the main reasons I guess I'm in accounting. I
It's like
just didn't
black
know about
and
it, but yeah.
white. There's no in between.
Yes. But crazy.
Numbers
Yeah.
don't lie.
They don't lie at all.
I think one of the no, I don't want to say a problem, but one of the things about finance is that we don't really know much about the things they do. Can you tell us something that this company does that we don't know much about?
Um well, like being in a finance, like it's hard to imagine which like areas like the other companies don't know of, but I feel like on the outside people would think like, okay, she's in finance, they process contractor payments, they send invoices, they collect this and that. But finance is more than that. We basically, in a nutshell, take care of the financial well-being of a company. So so yeah, we have this information that helps the management make informed decisions, so to speak. So so in a nutshell, because if I go into detail it can be boring. So yeah, like also like if you are from the outside and you look at finance department, I know some people would think like, that's a very boring department. Because I think of that myself too, like, I was like, It's a very quiet department." Most of my team members, I'm not trying to talk down of them, they wear eyeglasses, so they're like, oh, like these are like the nerdy department. But we're more than that. We have fun too. We have happy hours as well. So yeah,
That's great.
I
That's
bet you
great.
you guys thought about that. Finance is boring.
No, but something that I've liked it and something that I've done, it's like, for example, on the HR, it's payroll, something that has to do with numbers.
Hmm.
So it's something like I kind of analyze or kind of like to go through and see and see the data and how it has to be yes or no. It has to be one or two. It has to, everything has its own place, and it's pretty cool to work around those numbers
Yes, yes.
and try to see how also the managers from other departments start projecting, okay, how many people do we need from here till the end of year, depending on the volume, not only of the market, but also of the expenses that the company
Mm-hmm.
has. And
Yep.
this, all of this information is managed by the finance department. Also, with all of the tools that we use, that we currently use, there are some pay tools that are not admin, for example, that is owned, is it's an owned based tool. So checking all the renewal, it's not only okay, yes or no, but it's checking, okay, how much is this going to cost me for the next year? How can we work better, or we can take advantage, full advantage or full usage of one tool
Mm-hmm.
to really use what we're spending on this
Yes.
tool, right? So it really helps a lot
Mm-hmm.
on that type of decisions as well.
And that you now that you mentioned spending and expenses, incorporating our values, kind people, and lean. So we are that lean part of the company. We make sure that we make use of money well, so to speak. So yeah,
Exactly. Yes. 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 I
One
mean,
thing,
you're a small team as well,
one
right?
of the smallest. Yeah,
Yes.
but you know, small things can be bigger, so to speak.
definitely. One thing that I want to add, Lynette, is that I think your department is a little bit intimidating. Um, I think
That's true.
I think not everyone is suited for that position. Like, maybe not the position, but the department itself, because the responsibility of handling money is just
Mhm.
way so hard for like anxious people. I'm talking about myself, by the way.
But that's crazy. Yeah, but when you're in the finance department, like, yeah, we do see a lot of information, money and everything, but for us money is just numbers, like, but yeah, intimidating. I never thought about that, but probably it's the eyeglasses. Oh, there was one time we were in a meeting. And I was like, oh my God, all of the people in the finance team wear eyeglasses. I wear eyeglasses too, but I wear my contacts every day. And then I even like took a snap, like I took a photo. I was like, finance team is like nerdy people. Like I just found out like a few days ago that so there's five of us in the finance team. Drew, James, Diego, me, and then Danya. Danya is our new staff accountant.
Hmm.
So 2 days ago, we found out that two of them were born in August. Another two were born in July. So June, July, and August. And I was born in February. I was like, the next time we look for another person, it has to be born. I mean, she has to have a birthday in February. I was like, like it's even. See, I like structure. It has to be even. But yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. We've talked about what that department actually does. So I would like to know also how this, since you joined the finance department, how do you feel it has evolved
A
to what
lot.
it is now? So that part of history, if you could tell us a little bit of how things, that part of history of how it has evolved into what finance is now.
It has evolved a lot. Like, as I mentioned before, it was just Drew and me. Like, aside from the number of people that the finance team has now, I know we are one of the smallest department in the company, aside from supply ops. But yeah, it has evolved a lot. Like, things were so manual to the point that one process could take you the entire day. But now I've mentioned evolved so many times, but before it was just me and Drew, and then now we have that separation of like FP&A is Diego. He's more in charge of the analytics, the budgeting, the forecasting, and then on my side it's like more on the accounting side, so bookkeeping, reporting, and all that. So yeah, so it's more organized now and more automated in some areas. There are still a lot of like manual processes, but of course the plan is to have that automated in a better way. So yeah, to answer your question, it has evolved a lot, as
I think this.
similar to other like departments in the
Mhm.
company. Like now, I don't even know everybody. Before, do you remember before when you know everybody?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes. I
It's
already
different
stopped.
now.
I thought I would never get to that point when sometimes I forget someone's name. Like, it's like, okay, I have your name here, I have your face, I've seen you, I know you're here, but what's your name?
Yes, yes. And then
what
before,
happens?
like when they say Mario Hernandez, okay, CSR, like that was back in the day, Mario.
Yeah.
But now I was like, okay, Slack, who is this person? I was like, okay, I can't find a public admin. Okay,
What
It's
happens to me now is that before it was super easy to tag anyone or someone,
yes,
but now you have like a list of 3 or 4 people with similar or
similar
like with the
names.
same name. Yeah.
last
Oh gosh,
names or first names.
yep,
Yes.
Yeah.
yes. There's only one Madeline though, one Lynette. Is there another Mario? Juan, I know. There's probably more Juan. Like okay,
There's like 4 Marios now.
there are four Marios now. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh, Mario Gamera. I know Mario because I interviewed him. Yeah, he's the only
Yeah,
one I know.
we have some other Marios as well.
Villegas is another one. I think it's also from
Mhm.
sales.
Okay. So yeah, like everything has evolved in our company in a positive way, I think.
Coming back to the to Madeline's question, I think this is to be expected, especially because we when we started, this is like a very brand new startup.
Company. Yep.
But now, what do you think will be the changes to come for finance? Like, what do you see happening in the future? I don't know, maybe a year, a couple of years.
I see more like right now, as I mentioned, we have the SPNA and then the accounting side. In some companies, like accounting or the finance department would be composed of. I see a finance department where it would have an FP&A, an accounting or bookkeeping, and then an audit, like an audit department and a compliance or whatever. Not the compliance team that we have, but I see that like evolving into like a more organized and more spread out like finance department. So not just like, okay, you are in charge of accounting, okay, and also payroll and also this and also that. So it'll be more organized that way and then more automated processes. So that's how I see it in 1 to 2 years.
I'm so
Fingers
looking
crossed.
forward to that, all of that payroll automation.
Oh yeah. You still do the
Yes.
payroll. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh, but then remember contractor bonuses and all that. Oh my
oh
god.
my god,
I
yes.
remember that time.
So
God.
all of that has been automated as of now. So
Yes.
that's like the plus. That's all
Yeah,
the
I
reimbursements
yep.
automated, manual time requests automated. So
Yes.
we're moving
Imagine if we were
forward.
still
We're
doing
moving.
that one by one.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
crazy. I would
There
take
was a
days.
time where both of you, Madeline and Lynette, we're working both in HR, but we're doing like payroll manually, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean,
that's so.
Madeline's still doing payroll too. Like
But
Yes.
not
that
manually,
side of
not
yeah,
anymore.
not anymore.
Not anymore. Thank God.
Yes. Oh
Thank
my
you,
god! Like
engineering department.
shout
Kudos to the
out.
engineering department.
Yep.
Yes, shout out.
That's amazing. So, how do you see the future of finance? Where will the department expand, or what other things do you think that will start changing? What other plans do you have, like under your scope, or have you heard about or seen that are planning for the future?
I have not heard of anything specific, but looking at like the trend of where we're going, like I said, like we would probably have a different not department, but group that will be in charge of just auditing. This is when we become bigger. So when we scale, I see that like in the future, because one person can only do so much. Like so yeah, having more departments within the finance department, and of course like automation. So yeah, that's how I see it. I
I
don't know
do
if
have
Drew would agree, but but
Drew
yeah.
You can
approves.
leave that on the comments. One thing I wanted to ask you, Lynette, from the perspective of finance, can you give us a tip or something that you would recommend for us as a company to be more lean or to be more efficient or to help us in overall like the finance side of things?
Oh gosh, like to be more lean, basically like for expenses doing research, of course, not just like, hey, this is a good purchase. Like, yeah, this will help our company, this and that. But of course, like research will help a lot, like which is more if you spend this money, is this worth it? Like always think about like long term. And I mean that's what I would do in terms of like being lean because it deals a lot with like money and stuff. So yeah, like research and understanding, and of course if you have like processes that you manually do every day, automating it saves a lot of money too, like in the back end, because of course like for example if you spend 5 hours doing one task and shorten that to 2 hours, that's productivity and saving a lot. Very simple. Simple things can go a long way. So
Spe-
automation. I think that's what we're about, anyways. Like our company.
especially with a growing company, like 2 hour 2 minutes of a, how do you call it, like a workload of someone multiplied by 400 right now, it's
Yes.
just like a big actual
Mm-hmm.
saving.
Yep. Exactly.
That's amazing. Thanks a lot, Lena. That's actually pretty good
Another
tip.
pressure. Another pressure to the data and engineering team.
Yeah, create your product box, guys, please.
Thank you, Lynette. That's pretty good. And then we have this question. We call it sometimes our surprise question. Which is your favorite value?
Kind. Always. Like I've been asked this. I know I'm with the finance team, but kind speaks to me the most. Like it's one of the values that I teach my kids. I always say that. Like being kind is really beautiful. Like I've never been in a company where that's part of a value. So
Mhm.
yeah, that speaks to me the most. And second, lean, because I'm in a finance team.
Finance.
Yeah. Yeah, we can be kind and lean at the same time and invest in people. Now I come, yeah, bring the third one in. But yeah, kindness.
All right. That's a pretty good one. That's one of my favorites as well. Actually, the
Yeah.
three are my favorites, but yes, I think kindness it speaks a lot of my personality as well. And it's something that, as you mentioned, it's very important. And it's something that you don't see that much in other companies
Mhm.
and really stands out here at Ergeon.
Yes,
So that's pretty amazing.
it is.
All right. And then one of how actually that was not my last question, but something on a side, I just want to give these shout out to Lynette to everything that she has done around her home. Uh when it comes construction wise, as you can
Oh
see,
gosh.
she's not only a finance person, she's also into construction people. Yes, if you want to see more of her work, you can go to
United
United
We Craft.
We Craft. You can see a lot of her projects from beginning to end. It's just amazing everything that she has done around her home. So congratulations for that, Lynette. I just wanted to bring that up and put it you on spot for that one because it's just amazing everything that you've built.
Oh,
So
thank you. Thank you. Thank
if you
you.
could mention a couple of those projects, which one would you say have
My
been your favorite?
favorite, my barn door. My barn door is
Oh,
my
that's so
favorite. Like
pretty.
every time I look at it up to now, it's like, oh my God, I did a good job on this. Like I'm just trying to push myself up. But yeah, but this the building part of I only discovered that when I moved here in the US. I just moved like 2015. So in the Philippines, I never like tried to do any of those. We always like hire somebody to do these things for you. But then when I moved here, my husband was deployed and I was bored crazy like at home. Like I would drop off my daughter to school and I was like, oh, watch Netflix for like forever. And I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Because I've been working since I was like 21, right off of college, all the way to when I was like 34, December 1st, 2014. And then I moved here January 8th, 2015. No break. I probably had like a 2 week break in between two jobs. But I was like, oh my God, I didn't know what to do. And then I was like, okay, let me try this one. So my very first project was a laundry caddy. And I was using like manual tools like hammer, like the nails and
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
Yes. And then I just saw it on probably Pinterest at the time. And then I was like, oh, I want to do this because it would look nice with in the laundry area. And then one of my neighbors saw me like doing like manual labor. He gave me a tool. He gave me a drill and a sander. So that's when it all started. So yeah,
Wow.
from then on, I was like, oh, I want to build this. And I was like, and then after that, I built an outdoor furniture, outdoor kitchen. But yeah, one of my favorites is the barn door. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty amazing. So yes, Lynette has done a lot of different projects around her
Yeah.
house,
just,
which are just amazing.
just to add a little bit onto that, I as soon as you said that we could check it out on United with Craft, you should
Hmm.
actually join. I was picking on the your projects. There's one that you made. What is it, like 2 months ago, or that you
Hmm.
posted 2 months ago, with like a wall with succulent flowers. That
Oh, my
is
succulent
so pretty.
wall.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
amazing. I
yeah.
love it.
The story behind that, I tried to make a heart in the middle. So I was like choosing succulent plants, specific color. I was like looking from afar. I was like, it does look like a heart, but it doesn't. But yeah, I love that one too. I forgot about the succulent wall, but yeah, I love that. I actually have a most recent one, but I haven't posted it yet because it's not complete. But the build part is complete. I built my husband a gym in the garage for his birthday. So it's just a small gym, but yeah, I'm gonna post about it like one of these days when all the stuff is in there.
Great. That's awesome. That's great. So if you want to ask Lynette for some construction tips, go ahead. United We Craft. And
Yeah, and
also,
then we can look together on Pinterest like how to do
yes,
it.
exactly.
That's my source, like Pinterest and YouTube. So
All
yeah,
right. Way to go.
sometimes TikTok, but yeah.
Amazing.
Yep.
Great. Well, thank you, Lynette. It has been amazing pleasure to have you here. This has been really, really fun for us. So thank you for the time, for leaving up the numbers for a couple of minutes and coming to us to share a little bit of your story and what you do here at Ergeon. So thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you also, Madeline, Mario, Juan, for having me here. It was a pleasure. I was scared at first, but it's awesome.
It was a nice walk down memory lane. I really love having you here, Lynette. It was amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening to us. Please go ahead and subscribe to all of our channels for podcasts.
We have also all the United channels. Remember to check out those channels: United We Craft, United We Listen, We Watch, you name it. And if there's something that you don't see or you haven't found, then you can always propose these to your HR team in HR Box. So please remember to do that as well. If you find a new hobby or something new that you would like to share, and we will help you out on that one.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Ergeonomics.
We hope you enjoy our discussion and gain some valuable insights.
Remember to follow us on Spotify and stay tuned for future episodes where we'll be exploring more exciting topics.
We appreciate your support and feedback. So please let us know what you think and what you'd like us to cover in our next episode.
This is Mario and Madeline signing off for now.
We can't wait to see you next time.